No surprise here. I met today's guest through networking. This Forbes 30 under 30 recipient has a passion for giving back, and you will find that not only with his advice in writing, but also what he does professionally. Welcome back to Writing with Authors. I am your host and four-time published author, Vincent A. Lancy, and today's guest is streaming from Newcastle, Australia, as an author, a social entrepreneur, and humanist. He is the founder of Hapzly, and their One Cool Thing plus Happy Business initiative aims to magnify social and environmental impact by making boring, unrelatable, and expensive CSR initiatives fun, engaging, and accessible. They connect and better support businesses, especially the ones who make up most of the world's businesses, but are often too ignored, and consumers who play a critical role but are not interested. You can tell by that passion, his books have just as much value. And after learning about his new book, I had to have him on the show. He's got three: The Solitude, How Doing Nothing Can Change the World, Scribbles on the Wall, Lessons on the Wall, and his newest book, which we're going to learn a lot about, Awake, a journal, a guide, a retreat, a friend. Evan Sutter is here with 3 books worth of advice. So allow me to now bring on the man. Evan, it's great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too, Vincent. Nice to chat and nice to spread some good words to the people.
Once you hear everything Evan is about, be sure to check out his episode on That Entrepreneur Show in this show's bio. But first, Evan, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience who had not had a chance to see that episode.
Yeah. Well, as you said, man, good intro. Worked as a social entrepreneur and around activism and just different projects that make a positive impact for our environment and community. And Hapzly and the One Cool Thing, Happy Business Initiative is the new one I'm driving out here, working with local government to regenerate local communities and teach small businesses simple ways they can improve their sustainability practices, and then importantly connect them to our consumers, where we spend our time and money shapes the world. So that's a passion project for mine, and also the writing, and it blends in 2 of the writing. And as you said, this is the 3rd book, Awake, and writing something that's been a real creative expression for me for many years. And this book, I think, is a little bit different and really, really cool to sort of blend the best things I've learned over the years into one sort of take anywhere journal, which I think will be really helpful for a lot of people out there, especially right now when people are struggling a lot.
Absolutely. All of your work will pay major dividends for anyone who has the opportunity to read it. You could feel your passion. You could tell he's a grinder. We're both around the clock here. We're in the morning here, still dark here in Tampa. He's ending his day in Australia.
Dark and wet here, yeah.
We're working away. But like you said, let's talk about this latest book, how much value it is going to add to everyone listening on.
Yeah, so with my last book, with Solitude, I found that there was a lot of really thought-provoking content, but then a lot of people didn't have ways to really implement it into their lives and really shift habits. So I really wanted to combine the best of a book and a journal. So that's what Awake is. So a lot of thought-provoking content around philosophy, and then it takes into some really relevant and engaging practices that you can implement into your life. So throughout the book, there's a whole range of different tools and skills that we can use around mindfulness, emotional intelligence, positive psychology, resilience, emotional intelligence. And they get gradually more comprehensive as you go through the book, through the 4 sort of stages of well-being and aliveness, exploration, know yourself, meaning, presence. And as you go through, there's different practices to allow you to explore more and connect to your values and things like that. So in 1 minute, you might be doing a how am I writing meditation. You might be taking to some guided meditations and some body scans. And then you might be doing some values work or investigations where you answer different questions to sort of dive deeper into why you're doing the things you're doing. And by the end of the book, once you've worked through gratitude and the curiosity challenge and different things like that, you have a lot of time cultivating the inner world and learning tools that will allow you, no matter what's going on outside of us, all the crazy stuff in the world, you can still have something that you can rely on when things go wrong, and they always will. Like, life's unpredictable, uncertain, and after COVID, it'll be something else, right? It'll be health and death and all these kinds of things. So for me, it was just about creating a book that was full of really practical tools that can allow us to just enjoy our lives a little bit more and make it simple and accessible and engaging for people of all ages and all backgrounds. So we can enjoy our lives a little bit more, essentially.
I love everything I'm hearing. You mentioned the engaging activities in there. Love how you did that. We all know this book. This is my third book. He talked about some things with gratitude in there. Mr. Ledge Talks Mental Health has the exercises as well. You have a book for our audience to see what it looks like.
No, I don't. Believe it or not, we've talked about the craziness of COVID and shipping and stuff being delayed, and me being back here in Australia now. So I haven't actually seen the book. It's out today in the US on the 14th of September. So it's out there, but I'm still waiting for my book, believe it or not. I haven't seen it. I saw it via chat with my publisher a couple of days ago, and it looks great. Yeah, it's available at all the big bookstores and all of the online ones, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I think I even saw it at Target. So when you jump online, you'll see it. It looks pretty cool and nice.
The link will be in this show bio. Be sure to scroll down and check out that link. But Evan, you mentioned how the writing kind of coexists with your work. It all goes together. Did you always want to be a published author, or what eventually made you push that needle?
I think I initially, I started writing when I was young, just, writing on a sports magazine or something like that. But I just always did it for a lot of fun. But I think what really drove me to, getting a book out there was just really planting some seeds to get people to look at things a little bit differently. And I thought, not that I, was giving advice, but just a way that food for thought to get people to look at things and say, how does this relate to my life, and can it improve it? So all my books have been around, I guess, self-development, mind, body, spirit space, and things that we can implement into our lives. So, I spent some time, 3 months, living in a monastery in a hut in the forest. And I guess when I came back, I wanted to get people to see about those experiences. And I wrote an article, and then from the support from that article, I led to writing a book. And that's been similar with this experience. I've been using these tools and teaching people through talks. And I thought it would be a good way to, combine it all together into one, journal that we can take everywhere and use it at any time to.
Sounds just like that will be. And as you mentioned, when COVID does get in our rear view and we're able to speak again, I think the books are a great supplement. I've been producing these books, and then COVID came, where I want to do the same thing, put it all together, speak on the books with it. I've had the opportunity, even through COVID, to link up with some organizations, some foster care organizations. I worked with some schools here in Tampa as well, AMI Kids. But I'm like you, I have a passion for doing that and helping everybody along their way. But speaking of helping people here, Evan, what is 2 pieces of advice you can offer to help our community of writers?
For a writer, I think it's always important. Like, as you said, it's challenging, right? Like, things pop up and things go wrong. So I think it's important to really also just connect to your why and align to your values, right? Like, why are you doing it? I think that's always important, because when things get tough, you want to sit back on something that's actually going to drive you to the next point, right? If it's going to get you to writing in the morning when you're tired and run down, and people ignore you or whatever it is, right? Like, so just connecting to your values, knowing why you're doing it, and also finding that joy in that, right? Like, I think if we're going to spend a lot of time doing something, we want to enjoy it. We want to have some fun, right? Life's fickle and ever changing and inconstant. So the work we do, should give us some meaning and purpose. So I think for me, I'm connected back to your why, and have some fun with it, right? And stay curious and playful. I think when you get rigid and you're thinking about things are going to be perfect, things are always changing, especially when you're writing a book. What you think might be in there or what's important changes too. So I think you can't be too rigid in your ideas, and you're allowed to be playful and soft, and allow things to flow and adapt and evolve. And I think that's important, not only as a writer, but also as a human.
Took the words out of my mouth. Couldn't have said it better. You need to follow your why. Once I left corporate finance and that pursuit in the rat race, everything started to click. Productivity through the roof, efficiency through the roof, because if you like doing something, chances are you're going to go a little harder at it. You also mentioned have fun, because life moves fast. The last 4 or 5 years in entrepreneurship, I really minimized the fun. I was dedicated to my schedule, my regimen, but as my 30th just passed, I've been trying to give myself an extra day out of the house or 2 a week just to have fun. Social media has kind of been the backseat of this whole living my life a little more, which is unfortunate, but you have to prioritize things. And of course, certain activities go higher on that list. Social media will always be there. My presence is there. can't beat myself over the head too much if I can't put out the content I need to.
Yeah, man. Yeah, as you said, you got to be soft and compassionate with yourself too, right? Because things are changing, and you need to understand, life's interconnected, and there's a balance is important, right, for your health, for your well-being, your relationships, and also your career and your business success.
Before I ask you for your contact information, where to find all your books, as you know, it is time for your last word here, Evan.
What I was just saying then, like now's a really tricky time for everyone and for so many ways. So I think, for me, the reason I wrote the book Awake was to give people tools that they can learn, and real skills that they can, learn to, cultivate. And I don't think it's about being happy. I don't think it's about, happiness. I think it's about having a full life, and having a full life, it's inevitable that we will suffer. And it's not about avoiding suffering at all costs. It's about learning ways that we can still function when things go wrong. And be kind, be compassionate to yourself, be playful, and and try to create ways to ways to have joy in your life each day.
Thank you for ending that great last word. Remember to have joy. I work too hard. We all work too hard at times, but you need to remember to smile because you are still breathing. Now, Evan, where can we find you? Where can we find your books? All things Evan.
Beautiful. You can get a lot of information on my website, evansutter.com. That's, or you can find a lot of information on my books and talks, and watch videos of me speaking at conferences, things like that. On social media, you can get me at Hapzly, Hapzly. That's a whole range of content around my business, about the activism, social initiatives, and also around the book Awake, and my podcast Sutterfaction, and Awake. You can get that for the people in the States, all at Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Target, and then for people in North America, Banyan, and a lot of the bookstores there in Canada, and then WH Smith, Waterstones in the UK. And basically, if you type in Awake into Google and Evan Sutter, you'll find many places for you to get it.
Well, Evan, I want to thank you again for taking the time to sit with our audience, giving them some feedback, giving them some advice, and providing 3 new books to add to their queue. For everyone listening on, I would like to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Writing with Authors. This show has grown leaps and bounds, and I'm excited to keep connecting with authors, all around the world. We will see you next week on Writing with Authors. Evan, thank you again.
Cheers, Vincent. Thank you, mate.